Hey everyone, before we start the show, I just wanted to remind you that we've got Hack City Comedy on Friday, September 13th. It's at 7:30 p.m. at Union Hall in Brooklyn. It's our long-standing stand-up comedy show. It's always a blast. This month we've got Dr. Jason Leong, June Chung, and Karen Chi, among others. Once again, that's September 13th, 7:30 p.m. at Union Hall in Brooklyn. Tickets available now in the episode description or at asian.asianpod.com or Google Hack City Comedy. Also, if you want to support others in the Asian Not Asian multiverse, go check out Fumi's shows. Remember Fumi? He will be in Portland October 5th, Seattle October 6th, and Houston December 13th. Tickets available at fumiabe.com. Go check out his shows. He won't stop bothering me about it. And we'll see you there. And we thaw the person out. We thaw out my daughter because we're like, we have one chance to make this right. And yeah, so is she older than Neo? If you think about it, it's kind of a brain twister.
I know, right? That is wild.
Okay, I'm rolling.
Yes, I'm also rolling.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Woo, okay, and welcome back, everyone. It's 2024, and it's September, and it's another episode. We're back. Asian Not Asian podcast. It's Mike Nguyen.
It's Jenny Arimoto.
Oh, man. I saw your post. Was it today or yesterday? You said you had this thing where it was like, oh, I forgot I do comedy, in your Instagram stories. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That was today. I literally was like, I got some emails about a show in like November.
Yes.
And I was like, what? And I was like, that's right. I do comedy. I completely forgot. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly. What is this? What is this spam email that I'm getting?
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
I think they've misidentified me. I'm not Dane Cook.
What an amazing reference! Thank you for that.
Thanks.
That was great. Well, welcome to the continuation of our comedy careers, which we put on hold for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Very quickly before we start the show, we've got a big beefy episode for you today. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on from my side, from Jenny's side. Bicoastal updates. Let's just call it that. We'll call it the Bicoastal update episode. If you're listening to this and you want to support the show, you can help us out with Patreon. So Patreon is the best way to support the podcast. We're still getting Patreons even during my little hiatus here when we're taking a little break. We're still getting Patreons, and if you support the Patreon, then we give you a shout out on the podcast. We got two right now for this episode. One is Stephen Who or How? Who? I'm going to say Who.
Okay.
What do you think? Yeah.
I've never seen this last name before, but maybe I'm being ignorant. Have you?
You know what? That's a good. I've never seen it either.
Now
that I think about it. Yeah.
I've seen it without the O and I've seen it without the U, but I've never seen it together like this.
You've seen a ho and a who.
And a who.
But not a how. Who.
Yeah.
Woo. You know what though? This guy could be throwing us a curveball. I bet you he's actually like Cambodian or something,
Ooh.
It's like, it's a little twist. It's a little, it's a little ray gun twist.
Yeah, a little ray gun twist. A little kangaroo jump left to right.
Kangaroo jump. It's a little
You'll
kangaroo
never
jump.
guess what's next. Yeah.
You think she's going to breakdance. She ends up just doing kangaroo jump. And that's Stephen Who, baby. Maybe he's a really good breakdancer. Stephen, are you a good breakdancer?
Stephen if you're Cambodian, would be.
Yeah, he would be.
Yeah.
He would probably be a good. Yeah.
Like, he was like breakdancing maybe like 15 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now he's like a ninth grade science teacher.
Yeah.
But he still can pull out a couple moves because he's the cool teacher who wears like high performance khakis. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Sweat wicking.
Sweat wicking. 4-way stretch. That's Stephen Who, baby. That's what they call him. Actually, that his breakdancing name is Stephen 4-way stretch Who.
When teachers teachers put up their leg, so they're kind of looking like they have their leg up in a stance and they're kind of like leaned forward. It's a very active stance.
Yes.
Steven, who does that a lot. Steven needs movement. That's why he has those performance khakis.
He's like, let me rap at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you very much, Steven. Be sure to stretch because, your breakdancing days are over, but, your days of reaching the children have just begun.
Yeah.
The next one is, actually, we know this next person. Speaking of educators, Jasmine Ma. That's an amazing professor at NYU. We spoke at she runs this kind of program for first year students, and she was kind enough to have us come and give a little talk. They gave us some T-shirts and a hat.
Yeah,
remember
I still
this?
have it. Yeah,
me too.
It's iconic.
Me too. Yeah, it is. It is. Doesn't that seem so long ago? I mean,
it is so long ago, Mike, that I was like, was that last year? I can't remember when it was.
Well, here's the thing, because last summer was Barbie summer.
Yeah.
And this summer is that brat thing, which,
summer.
by the way, that's going to be most of the episode is you explaining what that means to me.
In September? This sounds really timely. This is what everyone wants. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jasmine, thank you very much. We know who you are, so we can't give you a little like what you would be, but we know who you are, and we thank you.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
We hopefully will come back to NYU one day during whatever the next summer is. What will next summer be? Who knows?
We have no idea.
Charlie XCX will have to come up with a new thing, or maybe she'll be done. It'll be done.
It'll be like Demon Summer, something like completely like the other side. You know what I mean? Like
right.
red.
That's true.
Yeah, demonic.
Yes. Okay, demonic summer. We're there.
Yeah.
Again, that's patreon.com/Asian.AsianPod. Best way to support the show. Okay, so yeah, we got a real beefy Bicoastal update here.
Yeah.
And I guess there shouldn't be any surprises if you follow me on Instagram or the podcast on Instagram. I've talked about it at length, and I'll be honest with you. There was a non-zero chance that when I left the show, we stopped the show, I wasn't sure if it was going to start again.
Yeah, I get it.
I just, not to bury the lead here. So, birth of my daughter, my second child.
Oh my God.
Yeah, woof. I've someone told me, Jenny, that, when you have one kid, you're definitely a parent. But when you have two kids, you're like for real a parent. You're like, there's no escape. You can't even pretend to be cool,
Mm-hmm. You're not that you're outnumbered, but you're now equal in number.
Yes. Which is being outnumbered, I think.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, you're outnumbered. And now it's official. It's like official that it's like you're a dad.
It is. I'm a dad. I'm gaining way more weight, way faster. My mustache is coming in. I'm like molting,
Yeah.
I'm molting my.
It's just part of the natural process.
I'm gonna go and like form a cocoon made out of old New York newspapers or something, and I'll emerge and I'll be talking about taxes and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And you're gonna like have your pants up to here, your chest.
Yeah, I forgot that we ran into each other actually, which was so crazy.
That was crazy. Because
I didn't think I was going to see you for like literally weeks or months.
Well, when I was in New York, I was there I'm not kidding, because I was there for a wedding, but it wasn't in the city. So I was only in the city for about a week. Right. Like barely a week.
Right.
And I got sick in the middle of that, so I canceled a bunch of stuff. And it was so random when we ran into each other. I was like just doing a solo yoga class. And I like came out and you were right there with your whole family. It was my wild.
Family. And you got to meet my daughter. Yeah. Dude, I mean, we were texting back and forth, right? Because I knew you were coming back, and I was like, there's an off chance.
That's right.
That we could meet, link up, and I wanted you to, at that point, my daughter was very, very, I mean, she's new now, but she was very, very new. Yeah. And so, it'd be love for you to come by and maybe meet her. And for some reason, I don't know if you ever get this sense, when there's enough Asian people, one of us will appear. Does that ever? When there's enough Asian people coming out of yoga, one of us will appear.
Yeah, it was just so incredible because we don't live in the same neighborhood. That was the other part. Don't. I was like, we don't live close. So the fact that we ran into each other was so random. at that time.
And it was in Williamsburg, and like I don't go there all that often.
Yeah.
You know, I had dragged my in-laws had wanted to go somewhere. I don't even remember why in particular we went there. We just were like, we were in the house for like days and days at a time. We're like, let's just go here. And then I was just standing. I happened to be standing outside.
Yeah.
And I saw a bunch of people, and then I was like, of course Jenny's here. That was it. Of course. You looked great.
Hey, thanks. You always look great. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Like your whole family came out. I'm like, what is this stylish family? Like, shouldn't you guys be exhausted? What's happening? You guys all look so good.
Well, thank you very much.
You dressed so well. Yeah.
Thank you. It was, so yeah, my daughter was born in early August. And it was, for people who followed along with like the sort of big rigmarole, which was the birth of my son, this child is also IVF. Mm-hmm. Actually, technically, here's a little brain twister for you. She came from an earlier egg retrieval cycle.
Oh, really?
And then was frozen for a long time, and I thawed her out. I thought her out like in Demolition Man.
Okay, I was gonna say Austin Powers, which is a very different reference.
Austin Powers, yeah. Well, any one of those things where they're like the hero's frozen, and then we're like, we need him again.
Yes.
We need the hero, and we thaw the person out. We thaw out my daughter because we're like, we have one chance to make this right, and So is she older than Neo? If you think about it, it's kind of a brain twister.
I know, right? That is wild.
Yeah,
she's been around for longer, or parts.
She's been around longer. She was frozen. She was just chilling, literally chilling. Yeah. And it's a long story about why we decided to put her in the game. Mm-hmm. But and one day I'll get more into it, but long story short, it's that the medicine, the sort of research around having the kind of embryo that she is had changed in the time that we froze her to now. So that they were like, hey, it's crazy. So they were like, hey, you know what? You got this other embryo, which we didn't know was going to be viable, and actually it's viable. And we're like, holy fuck. And we took her off the bench and put her in, and boom, and it's been wild. When we were at the hospital getting her from out of her mom, she was I don't know how to say it. We were getting her out of her mom. Out of the mom.
That's such a dude way of saying it.
We were retrieving the subject. It was nerve-wracking. It was a lot less nerve-wracking. We had gone to this. We went to the same hospital, and we kind of knew what was happening, and she had a very good pregnancy as far as there wasn't any issues or anything like that, and everything, all the testing looked good, and everything was real was looking real up, and so that was cool. The sort of trouble happened was after she was born. Mm-hmm. We're holding her, we're taking pictures and shit. I got a fuckload of pictures of her. Mm-hmm. We hand her off to mom, and you're in the OR for a while, and then you go to what's it called? The like a small recovery room. There's a small recovery room where there's a nurse who literally just like stares at you and just makes sure everything's cool.
Okay,
and they were watching, and then they were like, hey, you know what? We're noticing that the baby is kind of like doing this thing, and there's a certain term for it. It's like I want to say it's called like it's like gasping. It sounds like it's grunting. It's called grunting. It's like a very specific thing that babies do. It's called grunting, and it kind of sounds like she was moaning. She was like,
I see.
And I guess that's a sign that like, hey, maybe she's having some trouble breathing. And so they do the O2 thing, that little like oximeter thing on your finger, and they did that to her, and they're like, hey, it looks a little low, but I think everything's okay. So then they called in the pediatrician. Pediatrician's like doing it too, taking a look, listening on like, a little stethoscope, and it's like, okay, you know what, maybe it's a little low, so let's get the bigger oximeter, like more accurate one to do that. And that's turning out pretty low too. It's like 50% at
Oh my
O2
God,
saturation.
okay.
O2.
Yeah.
You want it to be like 90, right?
Right.
At any given time, you want it to be 90. So they're like, hey, what we think's happening is there's this thing called transient tachypnea of the newborn, TTN.
Okay.
Okay, and it's basically when fluid is in the lungs of the newborn. There's you're swimming around in fluid when you're when you're in mom
In your
and
vessel,
so,
yeah.
when you're in the vessel before you get retrieved by the retrieval force. Before dad goes in with his boys. So there's fluid in your lungs, and there's different ways it gets expelled. Usually if you do it through a vaginal birth, and like there's stress, there's like things that happen to the baby that the baby like knows to like expel it, and some other hormones and shit kind of like kick in, and this stuff gets expelled. But for whatever reason, my daughter didn't have that happen, and so they were like, okay, we think this is what it is. We can do some X-rays and stuff like that, and bottom line, she has to go to the ICU, which is like a bummer. I mean, I don't know what other way to say it. It sucks. It wasn't necessarily scary. Nobody, the doctors are very good at the hospital we went to, like excellent medical staff. And they were like, hey, this happens. Especially happens to people who go through C-section. It's known. We're gonna take care of her and everything like that. But it totally sucks having your daughter put in one of those things, and they bring her up to the ICU, and we're kind of like waiting around, like mom just had this big surgery, so she herself has to recover too. Yeah. And she's my daughter is in the ICU, and she has to be in the ICU for like she ends up being there about a week, right? And so I know.
Are you allowed to see her, or like are you separated, or what are the rules?
Yeah, so like we're allowed to see her, but remember, mom is she's on one floor being she's recovering from her thing, and then the ICU floor, which is just like the most heart-wrenching floor. I know. For like the baby ICU floor is just the most intense floor. It's on another floor, and I can go up there anytime I wanted. So I was up there a bunch. I went there as much as I could. She's in one of those little crib thing, those little clear crib things. Yeah. And they put her on a CPAP machine. So like people, if you got sleep apnea, it's literally that machine. And it's just like a little tube. It's not a ventilator. It's not breathing for you, but it's just it gives you positive air. It makes it easier for you to breathe. So she got that thing. And so I'm coming up there as much as I can. Over the next couple of days, mom has to stay in recovery for like a couple of days. And so when she gets a little better, we can take a wheelchair up to see her. And so we're hanging out at bedside. We're trying to do as much as we can. And, she's like getting better and better. But like we're always like we're looking at her numbers. Everything's all about the O2 saturation number, right? It's like it's gotta it goes up to like 80 and then back to 70 and then 85 and then and over the course of a whole week we're just like watching it like fluctuate up and down. Yeah, and like it was never it wasn't too intense, except there was like on the second day. They were like, she might have an infection because they did a blood test and there was like, there's something going on with like this white blood cell count here. So she might have an infection. Okay. And that's intense. If you have an infection, you got to stay in the hospital if you're a baby for like 2 weeks. And like, it's just like it's just not fun. And so I was standing there and they were doing a blood draw, and that part was like, just so scary for me. Like there's a baby and they're drawing all this blood out of her. She doesn't have that much blood. She's like 6 pounds.
She's so small,
She's so small. She doesn't got that much blood. So like, they're doing these things, they're running the tests. Turns out she doesn't have an infection. It's all good. It was just kind of a blip. It happens. But over the course of a week we're there. Gina gets discharged on like day 3, let's just say. And it's such a weird feeling leaving a, baby hospital without a baby. Yeah. And you just feel like everybody else is going home with their babies. Yeah. You're seeing all the other babies, thankfully get better and leave. And you're just like, dude, when are we gonna go? Right. And so that was like a big kind of mental challenge. I was going up there like, as much as I could, obviously, and just like hanging out with her. And then she was born in early August. and then there's the Hack City. So I go to that.
Oh my god!
Because I just
that was in the middle of everything.
That was in the middle of everything.
Wow.
In the middle of everything, I went to Hack City.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ben and Patricia, for holding it down. By the way, they were the hosts, and I just kind of like just stopped by. I almost didn't know what else to do because like she's gonna be there for like another week or something, and you're just like, I was there all day. I'm gonna be there tomorrow all day. You know, like I just decided to do it. And again, she was doing much better. Every single day she got better and better. And then I'd say around day 6, they move her into like another part of the ICU, which was like way less intense. Like, just like it had a nice window. You oversaw the park. It was just like so pleasant. And finally, we were able to take her home about a week or so after she was born. And man, it felt fucking great, dude. It was so awesome just to like dress her in like her little cute outfit. We got her, and she was so small that like the tiniest clothes was still like gigantic on her. Yeah. And so put her in that. Yeah, exactly. I took a little picture, and I got her back home. So that was cool, man.
Oh my god! Well, I didn't know it was that harrowing.
It was. It was.
Isn't it crazy that she won't know about that?
Oh no! Well, don't worry. I'm gonna tell her every single day.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that it's like, oh really? You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, that's what happened. Like when you become like older and you hear the story.
I know, right? Right. Yeah. That's so true. I mean, it's like the thing with kids is like, your parents are always like, oh yeah, I used to wipe your butt and all that stuff. Yeah. And it's true. I did all those things for I still do all those things. I'll be doing it for a long time. Yeah. And they don't even know. They're just like talking about Sabrina Carpenter. And stuff
and then they're like,
okay,
so my ask was, can I download TikTok or not? Like,
you kid, you. Yeah, man. It was cool getting her home. Her. You met them. My in-laws, her grandparents on her mother's side, were here with us. They stayed with us for a whole month. And her uncle came too, and so I've realized raising there's some sort of mathematical formula, but basically you need as many adults to raise a kid. You need as many adults plus one more adult. Okay. Because we had 5 adults for 2 kids, and that felt manageable. I was like, okay, this seems right. Right.
Wait, so you need so the math is
you need 5 I would say you need
to 2.
You need, yeah, so I would say no. I misspoke. You need like twice as many adults
plus 1.
Plus 1. Okay. Just throw an extra one in there.
Yeah.
So like, because at any given day, right? So they stayed with us for a month, and it was really nice. They stayed like right near us, so we were able to like all be together. And the grandma's cooking. She's an amazing cook. She was cooking the whole day, or like preparing a lot. Then we had the uncle playing with my son because it's the uncle time. They're playing like ball and like firemen and stuff like that. And then mom and me are taking care of the newborn, like the new daughter, and then grandpa's kind of flex position. Yeah. Okay.
Flex. Yeah.
He's like a midfield. He's midfield. He's midfield. He's getting up there in age, but he's still got the moves. He can move to Neo. Exactly. But then he can play defense, a little bit more chill position with the daughter too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, he's the David Beckham, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's got good vision.
Just reliable, yeah.
Right, exactly, team leader, that kind of thing.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan. You just need to have that. The glue that holds the team together. Exactly. Yeah, so that's what you need, and now they left after a month, and it was sad. It was a bummer because like Neo was really, my son had gotten really attached to them, and obviously they left, and now it's just me and my wife, and we still have a freezer full of their food, which is awesome, and it's just one less thing we have to deal with, like thinking about food. Yeah. So we do have that, but once that runs out, then we're really on our own. But yeah, it's been about like 2 weeks or so, and my wife is on leave, on her parental leave. Yeah. And so yeah, it's I don't know. it's an adjustment. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
But
I mean, do you think
yeah,
about the phrase "it takes a village"? Because I've been thinking about that a lot. Like
it's absolutely
about
so true.
how I think we're going through very different things in our personal lives, but I think they're both very family oriented.
Absolutely.
And having both of us having chosen to live in New York away from our families, I've been thinking a lot about like, oh, I get why people stay near
Yeah,
their families.
for sure.
It's
For
like
sure.
so much easier
You
to have a
literally
built-in support system for all of these things.
Yeah, and I mean, I still think we are even still lucky because we still have friends. We have other people
Right.
who are like newer kids. We can send Neo to daycare. We had a nanny for a while. That was another thing. Our nanny retired in the middle of all this, so now we don't have our nanny. But we had for a while our nanny. You
Yeah.
can never have too much support, honestly.
I know.
You never have like too many uncles, too many
Yeah.
neighbors, too many people who can just lend a hand, even for an hour. You know, if
Yeah.
you were around too, Jenny, it's like, hey, you could hang out with Neo for like an hour. Take him to the
Yeah,
park.
totally.
Give mom a break. Give us a
Yeah.
break. Like let us like just I don't know, take a nap or whatever it
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
Take a shower, something like that. So if
100%.
you got kids, I would say if you're in the stage where either you're getting let's just say you're a friend of someone who has kids or about to have kids or whatever. The big
Yeah.
thing I think is food. So like give them like a seamless gift card.
Right.
Or like cook some like thing that can be in the freezer. Like I don't know, like whatever, spaghetti or
Yeah.
lasagna, right? Can be frozen.
Yeah.
Give them that. And then or come over and like do if they're cool
laundry.
with you, do the laundry literally. Like
Yeah.
like empty their dishwasher.
Yeah.
Massive. Huge help.
Yeah, you
know?
don't need to buy another little like jumpsuit for the baby.
Yeah, no, we have so many
that.
jumpsuits.
Like,
Can I
it's like
can I tell you that?
Yeah, because that's what people always buy. It's like clothes for the baby that lasts for a second. I like literally,
Yeah.
I'm like, what sometimes people neglect is like the everyday stuff that the parents have to take care of.
Yes, exactly. We have plenty of jumpsuits. Trust me. We've
Yeah.
collected all the jumpsuits in the neighborhood, and we
Yeah.
have them, and we're gonna pass ours down to the next
Right.
sucker who has a kid. No,
Right,
but
right.
like come over, empty, like just move the laundry from the washer to the dryer.
Yeah.
Massive.
Exactly.
Hero, son.
That's four
That's-
jumpsuits worth of work.
When you think of businesses or brands that are really, really crushing it, like Alo Yoga or Untuck It, you think about amazing marketing, branding, maybe some really slick packaging. But what about the magic stuff you don't see, but is so, so important to making those businesses work? For millions of businesses, that magic is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Untuck It uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Asian, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Asian to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Asian. Are you interested in having hair that grows faster, stronger, and longer? Having visibly thicker volume, experiencing noticeably less shedding, thicker lashes and brows? All of this is possible with Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages, such as postpartum or menopause, and lifestyle factors, such as a plant-based lifestyle, so you can get just what you need. With a Nutrafol subscription, building a hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescription required, automated deliveries, and free shipping keep you on track. Plus, you can save up to 20%. You'll have access to free naturopathic doctor consult, and a Headspace membership is included. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code ASIAN.
Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code Asian. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Asian.
That's how we count everything. How many jumpsuits was that? Yeah, it's been cool. The people who know the saga of my in-laws and I, everything's cool now. It's cool.
It's incredible. I met them.
You
That's
did.
wild. That is
I know.
wild. After the stories I had heard, I was like, wow.
I know.
This is them.
I know. It's cool. I know. They haven't met a lot of my friends, honestly. They're very kind of like, they're kind of quiet, they keep to themselves,
Totally.
but they were cool. I didn't mention that you were Japanese, so I was like,
don't say that.
Just want to make sure. Just
I need them to like
forward.
me. Yeah.
Best foot forward, But here's something that was interesting too was like, we've talked before about kind of like Asian parents with love languages.
Yeah.
And my mother-in-law, my wife's mom, is cooking is definitely hers because she great cook, like astounding. I easily gained a bunch of weight. Neo did too. We all gained weight because of her amazing cooking.
Yeah.
And one thing that she would do, I've noticed, is that she would cook all this food. She's been like a good half of the day doing preparing it or cooking it, and then once she served it, she would serve it, and then her thing would be she would then hold the baby while we ate, right? And then she would eat after we all ate. That was like her thing. And like I tried to get her to not do that. And then after a certain point I realized, she wants to do it this way. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen that. Does your mom do that or your grandparents do that ever?
No. But I don't know if that's what the rule. I don't know what it was like with babies involved, because you do have to kind of. It's a different calculation once it's you have to get a toddler to eat or a baby to take care of a baby to not cry or whatever. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
But I could see that.
I actually think, now that I think about it, there's something interesting because in some ways, I mean, obviously she was serving us, so I'm not saying that she wasn't like doing us an amazing solid, but she was, her thing was like she was cooking and then her reward was to hold the baby. She didn't get to hold the baby because we're holding the baby and she's cooking. And now she gets to hold the baby. She loved doing it, and she spoiled my daughter because now my daughter wants to be held all the time. So, and same with the grandpa. And so the two of them, I think they really, really liked it. Understandably, Yeah. So I think that was kind of like in some ways her also kind of like, okay, I've done all the work. Now let me hang out with my grandchild. So I thought it was cool.
That's amazing though. But that is kind of the vibe of Asian grandmas,
right?
It's like cooking a ton.
Yeah.
And then just moving constantly and then caretaking. That is the image that I have of my grandparents too.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah. And then crazy. Doing that meme where there's the look that your mom has when you're opening up presents at Christmas. You know that meme? Anyways.
No. That's so specific. No.
Sorry.
That's that's where we've entered in culture. We go, do you know that meme where whatever? That is how we talk now.
The thing with memes, just a quick aside, all those memes where it was a kid, you'll see every so often, you'll see an ABC News article where the meme, the baby in that meme is now 34.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no.
And bald.
And bald, yeah.
But yeah. And it just has a 9-to-5 job at a manufacturing plant. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Remember Success Baby? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's now he's
a landlord.
Now he's a landlord. Yeah, he works at Pep Boys. It's crazy. Oh my God.
How
so
exciting.
That's
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Well, it's been nice to just have a change.
Yeah.
I wanted to do another episode before we did, before we took a break, but life got in the way, which is totally fine. Yeah. And so I'm back. I'm gonna have to figure all this out as far as going forward, how to do this, because I don't want to leave my family for an extended period of time. Mm-hmm. So that's why right now, people who are watching, we're on Zoom. Jenny and I are on Zoom. And it is 9:45 here in New York City, 6:45 in in the Bay Area. So we may be doing it that way. You know, it's just like I'm gonna be doing like midnight sessions.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, that's just how it is, you know?
Maybe we
So,
just do guests from California.
there you go.
Only.
We just have to do only West Coast guests.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Cho. I don't know where he lives.
It's only John Cho. We should get John Cho on as our regular.
Over and over again.
Over and over again. Yeah. Third co-host.
He's so mad at us. This is called this is the John Cho a restraining order podcast.
Yeah. We really want to get that restraining order.
Jenny,
yeah.
how are you doing?
So I have also had a lot of personal life stuff. My family has told me not to talk about it in detail, so I'm going to keep it really vague.
For sure.
But I've been mostly in California since early July. There was that 1 week in New York where I saw Mike, and then otherwise I've been here dealing with kind of family things, caretaking things, et cetera, et cetera. I would say that listening to you, we had a lot of very similar experiences, like in and out of the hospital, all that stuff. So that's kind of what we're going through. And essentially I've been kind of like vibing and caretaking out in California.
Yep.
But things are kind of a little bit more steady than in July. So that's good. Cause I think July was like truly when I left, cause we were supposed to record, I think the date right after I left.
Yep.
But it really was like, I just like flee to California.
For sure.
So yeah, I've been kind of out of the comedy game. Not because I wanted to be, but just because of circumstance. Since early July, I wrote something in June that ended up getting staged the week I was there. Randomly, it worked out. So I got to see that get staged, and that was really fun. And I I love sketch comedy. I was like, I love sketch comedy.
Was that at UCB?
Yeah, at UCB.
Awesome.
And it just like timing worked out that the wedding I was going to was also when our show was set. But I wrote that in June. So I really haven't done any comedy things other than show up to that show that I had no part in other than write early on. So yeah, I've been having this like, especially today, I have been having this moment of like, what am I? What is comedy? Like, what was this thing that I was so obsessed with and working hard towards? Now that I'm away from it in the suburbs of the Bay Area, and I really have no desire to make content right now, obviously, considering I'm like going through some stuff. And also just, I'm not near it. I'm not near shows. I'm not near like people talking about it. It really feels like a distant past life that I had. I don't know if you feel that way too, like being in the middle of your, like just your personal life. I'm like, what is comedy? And what even is the point of it? When I'm in it, it's so fun. And I'm like, I have to do this. But now that I'm out of it, I'm like, why do I need this thing that's like irregular and stressful when I could just like have a day job? Literally, I don't know what's happening, but it's just like swinging that way right now.
I hear that. I feel that. Are you, you're not interested in like doing stuff? San Francisco's there. I know it's a different scene, but just asking.
I mean, I was in this scene before, and it's very small. And I outgrew it pretty quickly. And I don't have a desire to do that here.
For sure.
If I do, I'd have to start doing something solo.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm kind of in this weird phase right now where I'm trying to figure out, what do I like about comedy? What do I need to do about it? This is such a right turn. For my birthday, my friend gifted me astrology reading from her coworker who does Vedic astrology, I think it's called. It's like Indian astrology.
Oh, wow.
So he gave me an hour-long reading, which once again, I'm like trying not to be like a crazy astrology person. I just think it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because I don't know him. I've met him once or twice, and truly in passing. And then I wanted to see how accurate. I just wanted to see how accurate he could be. And one of the things he said that I thought really hit home is about my sense of creativity. He said, you're very creative, but you're not like, you're creative in this very practical way, which is like, you'll write if you have something to write towards, but you don't write for pure self-expression. That blew my mind because I was like, that is exactly correct. I'm not like a poet that needs to put my words on paper. And even if no one sees it, I don't care. As long as like I made the words and whatever, like that was my reward or that was the work I was putting in for that poem. No, I like will make videos so people laugh at them and like them or whatever. You know, like, or like I write when I have a deadline. So I really force deadlines. I write when there's a place to submit that writing. I don't just like write humor for this. I realize I don't really write for the sense of writing, like just for whatever, which is also maybe why I struggle with like, I keep being like, I need to figure out a solo act. And then I just can't get myself to do it. I think one, it's not my form, but also two, it's like, I don't have any, if I have a deadline, I will do it and I will put the work in. But with this like vague thing of like, I have something to say, like, I don't think I have that as much. So yeah, when that really resonated with me. And so I think I'm like, now that I'm here dealing with like my personal stuff, I'm like, what do I need to do comedy for? I should just get 9 to 5.
Did you feel that you had because I know what you mean. Like, you know, there's that feeling where I have something to say. I want to say it.
Yeah.
Right? I definitely had that before. Now I don't have that as much. I still think I still feel the need to make stuff, but it's a different thing than I think before was like I think I was kind of like where you're, you know, that really annoying poet guy who's like, I just need to put the energy out into the universe and you know, align my chakra. But for you, did you ever have that feeling like I need to put something down and something's changed, or is it more like, oh, I realize actually I am this, you know, that kind of like, you know, structured creative?
So I started doing comedy never with the idea that I had something to say. If anything, I really was convinced I had nothing to say, or that I had nothing unique to say. I was like, no one cares about what I have to say. As what I would say is my biggest problem statement is that I think no one cares, or that I have nothing unique to say. And then I started doing comedy truly just to do to meet people who are funny. Because I felt that I wasn't meeting people who were my vibe. That's how it started. And then I just like was good at it. Not like, I'm not saying that like, oh my God, I'm incredible, but I just like had a knack for it. Sure. And I'm very achievement oriented. So I was like, well, there are levels when you take improv classes. You take classes, you perform, if you get asked to do an audition, that's like a win. You know what I mean? Like, so that just like kept moving. And then always loved sketch comedy. So I was like, I'm just going to take those classes. And then I just like moved up, and I never thought I had anything to say with those sketches. And then I think in like right before I joined this podcast, it was the first time I was like, I have something to say. Wow. It was like when I dyed my hair blonde and I was going through like, I was like in my late 20s and I was like, I have something to say. I do actually have a point of view that's interesting. So then that wave happened, and that's really when I was like posting more things online and whatever. And maybe I'm going through the same arc that you're going through. I've now entered where I have a lot of personal life stuff happen. Pretty negative, bad stuff the last 2 years happen that made me realize I was like, what was that fire that I had? I mean, sometimes I'm like, life is kind of pointless. And I mean that in like a wonderful, beautiful way. I'm like,
yes.
There's no like one thing that makes you happy or life worth it. It's just like we're just these beings on earth, and all we have is time to spend. And so it's like figuring out how you're going to spend that time, and hopefully it's like with loved ones, feeling loved and secure, and like you also get to give that to someone, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe it's doing art, maybe it's like hiking and looking at the world, whatever. That's like literally what life is what I've come to realize in the last couple of years. And so maybe like that original like fire that I had in my 20s, which was like, I'm doing this because I have a point of view and I have something to achieve and I have something to say, is starting to burn off a little bit, where I'm like, well, the reality is like life is short. I want to have fun and chill and vibe. And also like no one really has that much like unique stuff to say. I mean, there's great art out there, but it's like, it's getting harder for artists to make stuff, whatever. Like I think about that stuff, I get like really disillusioned. So I think it's like a series of a lot of different things. So I think I'm like on the jaded side where I'm like, okay, maybe I just don't have much to say right now.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I like especially the I have nothing to say thing.
Yeah.
I think that's I've never wanted to make something where I just make something just to make it. You know, I do want it to have a a point, like you say.
Yeah.
Not even in a like I need a deadline, but it's just like I want to ultimately do something just because I enjoy doing it. Like it has to be fun. Or I have to like connect with someone, or it has to be something like new that I'm exploring or something like that. Like there does need to be that because, to your point, I think we are in the same place as far as like, our time's really valuable. I don't have a lot of time for this. I used to, this is even when I just had one kid, before I would go do a show, I would get really anxious. I like really anxious, really nervous because I was like, oh, I'm leaving, and how many of these nights do I have with my family, even now, like, I mean, fortunately right now, Neo is asleep, so I can't just stare at him, he is sleeping. My daughter is also sleeping, so it's okay. Like when they're asleep, I feel like I have a little time I can go, but when they're awake and doing stuff, I don't,
you don't want to
miss that, and I want to, again, go back to, it has to be fulfilling in some other way that, hey, I'm not saying I don't want to get paid, but like, like I'm not that motivated by it, unless it's like a, astronomical amount of money. It's like, I have to do something because that is what, for the things that motivate me, let's just say.
Totally. But I also know the feeling that if we didn't have it, I think I would feel really sad. Like I was like, if I didn't have an outlet like this to talk or to like be on stage once in a while, I do think I would be sad about it in a way. Like that is a part of me at this point, and it is fun. And that adrenaline is still fun for me to like perform in front of people or to write something that people are going to see and being anxious about whether it's going to do well and when it does well. Like that feeling is incredible.
Right.
Working on something with a team of people is like one of my favorite things to do. So I also don't want to lose that. But because I've been away from it and because I'm dealing with some dark stuff, I'm like, oh, right now at this very moment, I'm like, what is the point?
I mean, I think it's totally, it's one of those weird ways that I think, capitalism has like hijacked creativity. It's like you always have to be
productive,
outputting, performing, creating, like
totally.
It's that grind set mentality that has gone into this too. And I think it's really easy to do that because it's like you said, like for a lot of creative stuff, there's like levels, right? You feel like, oh, I got to keep going. I got to keep up with everybody, or I got to submit to this thing so I can get this thing. When creativity is not like that. Like there's long stretches of time you got nothing going on, or you hate the stuff you make, or you don't want to do anything, and like that doesn't make you not that. It just makes you not a good worker. But that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
I'm not
totally.
doing it for
I mean,
work.
The fact that I haven't really been on social media that much lately, and it's in part because if I see people making stuff or achieving things, it makes me so anxious that I'm behind. I was like, oh my God, I've taken time off from this pursuit, and now I'm left behind in the dust. Like, Young Me got Vulture's comedians to watch today. I saw her post, which is incredible. I'm so happy for her. Great. Like, that rules. I was like, I haven't made anything in like 3 months. I'm a fucking failure. Like, that's how I feel.
Come on.
Which I know is it's like, obviously I'm dealing with stuff that's like beyond comedy. But I don't know, like, it's that mentality that is capitalism grind set mentality of like, absolutely. If you're not ahead, you're behind.
Right.
You're not worth anything. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Here's Forbes 20 edgy comedians under 20,
Yeah.
Look at these guys. God.
60 upcoming comedians under 60.
I mean, I'm sure you saw a bunch of the Fringe Fest things.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
All those people doing the Fringe Fest stuff. Like a bunch of our friends went and did their acts out there. Some people just went out there and just hung out.
Right.
And not to give you, I'm bringing it up not to make you more anxious, Jenny. I actually think, maybe that's one of those things if you wanted to do, because I could see you really doing well there at that.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Like, for real, like, because that's one of those things where, unless you're like a really good stand-up comic, you should go and do Fringe because you got to do an hour. But even then, I'm like, why? Like, if you have a really good hour, don't do it the Fringe. Go out and make money or do something else with it. I feel Fringe is the space for like more conceptual things or
Right,
kind of
trying
open-ended things. Yeah, trying things.
Yeah.
And I think, but it's also something where it lends itself to like, writing or characters.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not a stand-up festival. So us,
Right.
hey, if you want a deadline, there's Fringe.
It's true.
And then you could, there's some pressure there to do that, and you get this little package at the end, so to speak. But it's also not something, because it's completely open, there's no submission. It's just like, just show up and here's your slot, and
So
you're
wild.
performing in front of a bunch of drunk English people at like 2 a.m. Hey, so I don't know, I'm just putting it out there, not to say, you already got a lot going on, but it could be cool. And me, I've always tried to encourage you to do something like that,
Yeah. I think like when I get back to New York, I think I'm hoping that fire or something comes. Not doesn't have to be a fire, just a tiny little sliver of light can come back. Because I really right now I'm like, should I go get my MBA? Like I literally
oh shit!
Like,
you just said the magic word MBA.
I'm not gonna actually.
This podcast brought to you by Pepperdine.
But I literally I'm like, I need to get a certification right now so I can get a desk job. Like that's
me,
literally
man.
where I'm at right now. Like my brain is breaking.
You're such a Berkeley comedian like me, dude. I think the reason why I got like sucked up into stand-up sometimes is because there's like levels, and because there's like this thing where you have this quick achievement, like, oh, how many open mics did you do this week, or how many new bits do you have, or whatever, right? And you're like progressing, and then and then sometimes I'm like, man, I should have gotten my MBA. What was I thinking? Like, I spent so much time doing this other thing. I could have gone and done it online or something.
Yeah,
dude, or a certification of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, I'm like, I used to be smart. I used to be really good at tests. Like, maybe I need to go do more tests again. Like, that's where I'm at. I'm in, like, major aimless kind of, like, needing structure in my life moment.
Yeah.
And trust me, those thoughts are going through my brain. I don't want to get an MBA, by the way. I'm just saying out loud. I don't want to get an MBA. But I do have these thoughts of, like, not an MBA, just a certificate, couple certifications.
So couple of Windows Server.
Agile Scrum. I'm going to become a Scrum Master, like Agile Scrum Master, stuff like that.
Oh man, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah. Oh god.
For my project managers out there, that was a little bit of an inside joke.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll keep checking in on you, and I'll know that you're in trouble if the certifications start piling up. I'll give you one. I'll let you get one. If
I start posting on LinkedIn nonstop, the most rewarding experience I had was taking this Atlassian certification course. Then something's not going right.
I feel like if you took that certification, but then took that and made it into a one-person show at the Fringe. And at the end of the show, you give everyone in the audience the certification. Yeah,
that could be fun. I could take that to like all the tech companies in the world.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's a comedy show, but at the end you get certified.
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
You know how many times I've thought about can I turn my dumb skills into money somehow? Like, can I make a stand-up certification, not even certification, like take the weird stage thing I can do, but sell it to as a software as a service, or shop it around Silicon Valley, and like, what I'm saying? Because I feel, startup guys, they're susceptible to like a charismatic guy like me, if I could probably take like 10 grand from them and like call it like a stage camp or something like that.
Yes.
And boom.
Absolutely,
money.
You could do that.
Money.
Someone listening to this podcast will have some way of connection of making that happen. Please, Stephen Howe, reach out to your friends and help us.
Stop breakdancing.
Stop breakdancing for 1 second.
1 second.
And help us.
God, love it. Okay, well, just it's been the Bicoastal catch-up episode. Is there anything else? Any other updates?
No, but I'm hoping that I will be back in the game soon. I hope everyone's doing well. I have missed doing this, and I've missed like being able to talk regularly.
You haven't done any live stuff in however long.
No, I mean, I wrote something for a live thing, but I wasn't in it.
Okay.
But my other update is my brother's getting married, which is why which is why I'm here.
Nice.
But it's also the weekend of Hack City. Hack City kind of always is the weekend when I have a wedding.
I know
Because that's why
yeah.
the last time I missed it too is because there was a wedding.
Right.
So, but I'm hoping that I can be around for October show.
Okay.
So we'll keep you updated on that.
All right. So we'll aim for that. We'll aim for having an October reunion. All right.
Yes.
Me and Jenny will be back together. Hopefully I can, I don't know, find child's care in that time. And it'll be a lot of fun. I'll just close out how I started, Come check out Hack City. The October one, 11th. It's October 11th. Is that right?
Hell yeah.
October 11th. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And then I just realized I'm going to have to change this somehow. But the Hack City is actually September. It's 13th. It's the Friday, the September 13th. So that's whatever. You just look it up. Okay. We're starting off strong. Well, thanks very much everybody for listening to the update. We'll be back. I'm going to try to keep it pretty regular.
Let's do it.
We'll have guests. We'll have updates. We'll have those sorts of things. Honestly, thank you so much for listening. It means a lot. Trust me.
Yes. Thank you so much.
It is it's a privilege, honestly, to be able to do this, and so we don't take it lightly. That said, be cool, and hopefully we'll see you guys pretty soon. We love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.